So, I want you to picture a business model for a moment.
Okay.
It's incredibly scalable. It's got, a polished user interface. It offers 247 tech support,
Right.
and it runs on a monthly subscription. Now, if I told you this company was on track to move billions this year, you'd probably think it was the next big thing from Silicon Valley, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. That sounds like a classic software-as-a-service pitch, the kind of thing venture capitalists would drool over.
Except the product is ransomware.
Ah,
And the customer isn't some corporation trying to optimize workflow. It's anyone with a credit card and bad intentions. You don't need a computer science degree.
no coding required.
You just pay the fee.
And that is the reality of ransomware-as-a-service, or RACE. It is, it's the industrialization of cybercrime. It has completely changed the game.
And that is exactly where we're diving in today. We have a massive stack of intelligence to unpack, mostly centering on a broadcast from Capital Radio's Cyber After Work.
Right, with hosts Eduardo Castillo and Pablo Sanamaterio. And they had Sonia Fernández on, who's the head of threat intelligence at Thales S21sec, a heavy hitter.
A very heavy hitter. And this isn't just some generic be safe online chat. We're looking at the threat landscape report for the back half of 2024.
This is a snapshot of the battlefield right now. We're going to talk about why, local town halls are becoming collateral damage in global conflicts.
We're going to break down the anatomy of a hack that takes less than 2 hours, minute by minute.
And we're also going to touch on this idea of sharenting, which is, it's using AI to weaponize your family photos.
It's a full spectrum look, from the geopolitical all the way down to the personal. So let's start with that business model. Sonia Fernández was very clear in the report. Ransomware is still the absolute king.
It works, so they keep using it.
Right. But I think a lot of people still have this image of a hacker as, a lone wolf in a hoodie in a dark basement.
Oh, that's completely outdated. If you want to understand modern cybercrime, you have to stop thinking hacking and start thinking a supply chain.
A supply chain? How so?
In the RAS model, you have the developers. These are the really smart engineers who write the malicious code. They're the franchisers. And they lease this software out to affiliates.
And the affiliates are the ones actually launching the attacks.
Exactly. They don't need to know how the engine works. They just need to drive the car. The developers take a cut of the ransom, maybe 20, 30%, and the affiliate keeps the rest.
So it lowers the barrier to entry from genius coder
to criminal with a startup budget.
Which explains the sheer volume of attacks. But the sources also say the tools are getting sharper. The report highlights a rise in zero-day vulnerabilities. We hear that term thrown around all the time. Can we just break that down?
Yeah, absolutely. Think of software security like a race. You've got the good guys, the developers, and the bad guys.
Okay.
All software has bugs, right? Holes. A 0 day is a flaw that the hackers discover before the software company does.
So the company has had 0 days to patch it.
Precisely. If hackers find a 0 day in, say a really popular program, they basically have a master key that nobody else knows exists. Until the patch comes out, every single user is exposed.
They're not rattling doorknobs, they're walking through invisible walls.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. And the Thales report says these groups are hoarding these vulnerabilities for high-impact attacks.
And when they get in, the damage is, it's specific. The sources gave a couple of case studies. The first one was Comisiones Obreras, a major trade union.
Right, and this was a massive breach. We're talking 570 gigabytes of data leaked onto the dark web.
Now, 570 gigs is a lot, but to most of us, that's just an abstract number. Why is a trade union such a juicy target? I mean, they're not a bank.
No, but they hold something that's arguably more valuable for a long-term constant: trust and identity.
So this gets into social engineering.
Exactly. Hacking the human, not the machine. If I steal a union's database, I have names, phone numbers, addresses, maybe even banking details for dues.
And their professional affiliation. They trust this organization.
Right. So the hack isn't the end game. It's the setup.
So 3 weeks later, I get a call. Hi, this is Maria from the union. We're just updating our records.
And because she knows your ID number and your last payment date, you believe her. The experts on the broadcast really hammered this home. The data theft is just the first domino. It lets criminals launch these super targeted secondary attacks.
Which are so much harder to spot because they're wrapped in real, accurate info about you.
It weaponizes your own life against you.
Okay, now the second case study was Generali, the insurance giant. And this one.
Like,
This
no.
one was just frustrating to read about. It wasn't some high-tech zero-day exploit.
No, this was what they call an authorized access breach.
Which is the polite way of saying the hackers had the keys to the front door.
Pretty much. Someone's legitimate credential, their username and password was stolen. The hackers just logged in.
And walked around grabbing data.
Effectively, yes. Policy information, home and car insurance details. And the potential fallout is astronomical. Under GDPR, we're talking fines up to 20 million euros.
Or 4% of global turnover. And all because of one stolen password. Pablo Sanamaterio, one of the hosts, was practically pulling his hair out about this one.
Because the solution is so simple, so cheap and available.
Second-factor authentication.
2FA. It is the single most effective barrier against this kind of attack. If that account had 2FA, the stolen password would have been useless. The hacker enters the password and then boom, they hit a wall.
Asking for a 6-digit code from a phone they don't have.
It's the difference between locking your door and having a security guard who checks your ID. In a corporate environment of that size, not enforcing 2FA is...
Yep.
It's bordering on negligence.
So we've got the crime franchise with Rice and the human error with passwords. But then the Thales report takes a hard turn into something much bigger. We need to talk about geopolitics.
Yeah, this is where the digital world stops being about profit and starts being about ideology and warfare.
The report draws a direct line from the conflicts in Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Gaza to cyber attacks on, of all places, local Spanish towns.
The deputations of Cáceres and Badajoz and the City Council of Mérida.
On the surface, it just seems absurd. Why would a sophisticated Russian hacktivist group care about the City Council of Mérida? It's not a military command center.
No, it's a municipal office. But in the eyes of these groups, it represents the Spanish state. The group they identified as No Name 057.
They're pro-Russian.
Exactly. And their logic is very binary. Spain supports Ukraine, therefore Spanish infrastructure is a legitimate target.
So it's a punishment.
It's an influence operation. They're not trying to steal secrets from a town hall. They're trying to cause chaos, embarrass the government, and show that the state can't protect its own institutions. It creates instability.
And the method they use is a DDoS attack. We hear that acronym all the time. How does that actually work?
DDoS, distributed denial of service. Imagine a small shop with a single door. One customer walks in, fine. 5, it's busy. But if 10,000 people try to jam through that door at the exact same second,
The door gets blocked, no one gets in or out.
the shop is effectively shut down. In this case, the people are just junk web traffic, and the shop is the town hall's website. They flood it until the server crashes.
But here's the part that got me. They use volunteers.
Volunteers, it's gamified cyber warfare.
People are just signing up for this.
Yes. They distribute software that supporters install on their own laptops. You download it, maybe turn on a VPN to hide your location, and your computer joins a global army of devices all blasting traffic at the target. You're basically lending your bandwidth to the war effort.
That's terrifyingly accessible. You're like a digital reservist for a cyber gang.
It is. And it creates a nightmare for defenders. Sonia Fernández pointed this out. How do you predict this? You might know No Name is targeting Spain, but where? The Ministry of Defense, a bank, or a random town hall.
It's like trying to guess where lightning will strike. You see the storm, but you can't protect every single tree.
Exactly. And while the report notes the financial sector is still the #1 target, that's where the money is, we're seeing a disturbing rise in attacks on healthcare.
That just hits differently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hacking a bank is theft. Hacking a hospital feels like violence.
Because the consequences are physical. After COVID, healthcare is almost completely digitized. Patient records, prescriptions, surgical schedules, it's all on the network.
So ransomware doesn't just pause business.
It delays surgeries. It stops a doctor from seeing a patient's allergies. It forces this terrible moral dilemma. Do we pay the criminals immediately to save lives? Which, of course, just funds the next attack.
It's a vicious cycle. Okay, I want to pivot to the actual mechanics, because the source material included a piece from Pablo Sanamaterio's talk at RootedCON. He broke down what he called the 2-hour nightmare.
This was a gripping part of the analysis. He just stripped away all the Hollywood glamour and showed the brutal efficiency of a modern hack.
2 hours. From the moment they break in to the moment the ransom note appears. I think we need to walk through this timeline. It just shatters the illusion that you have days to react.
You really don't. So minute 0, the break-in. In the case he analyzed, they used a vulnerability that was only 15 to 20 days old.
Which brings us back to patching. If your IT department only updates once a month, you're already too slow.
You're leaving a window open for 2 weeks. So they get in. About 15 minutes later, they don't start stealing files. They blind the guards.
Meaning they deploy a tool to kill the antivirus software.
Exactly. And, pause there for a second, if your antivirus suddenly shuts down, that should be a 5-alarm fire.
But if no one is watching the dashboard at 3 in the morning?
They're ghosts. Okay, so the guards are blind. Next, they need to upgrade their clearance. They need to become domain admin.
The keys to the kingdom.
Right. And they do this by scraping computers for password hashes.
Okay, hashes. Explain that simply.
A hash is just a scrambled password. Your computer doesn't store password 123. It stores a long jumble of characters. It's like scrambling an egg. You can't easily unscramble it.
So how do they read it?
They don't unscramble it. They have giant dictionaries of tree-scrambled common passwords. They look at your scrambled egg and see if it matches any of the eggs they've already scrambled. If you use a common password,
They find a match in seconds.
it's their key. They crack a few admin passwords. They start moving laterally, jumping from server to server, until they find the domain controller, the brain of the whole network.
And at this point, they own everything. And we're, what, an hour in?
Roughly. Now comes the double extortion. Before they lock you out, they steal your data. They exfiltrate gigabytes of your most sensitive files.
So even if you have backups, they can still blackmail you by threatening to leak it.
It's their backup plan for the crime. And then, finally, the boom. They execute the ransomware script. Every computer encrypts itself.
2 hours, start to finish.
And Pablo had this quote that just sums it all up. The bad guys only need one gap, one lucky day. You have to be right every single day.
The asymmetry is just brutal.
It is. Defenders have to be perfect. Attackers just have to be lucky once.
So what's the lesson? If a human can't stop a 2-hour attack, what do you do?
Automation. That's the only counterweapon to speed. You need systems that detect anomalous behavior, like an admin tool being installed that you don't use, or data moving out at 2 a.m. and automatically sever the connection. You have to catch them at minute 15, not minute 119.
We've covered the corporate and government level, but I want to bring it back to the individual. There was a segment in the sources from Panda Security that I found, honestly, quite disturbing. It's about sharenting.
This is the pivot from financial loss to personal safety. And it's a topic that makes people uncomfortable because it critiques our daily habits.
We all know what sharenting is, even if we don't use the term. It's parents oversharing photos, videos of their kids online, first day of school, bath time. It all seems so innocent.
And it used to be a privacy issue. The concern was, oh, advertisers will know what toys my kid likes.
Right.
But the threat landscape has shifted violently because of artificial intelligence.
The sources brought up the deep fake videos of political leaders as an example, but when you apply that to a child, what are the actual risks?
That's the dark reality. Bad actors can scrape these innocent images from public profiles. AI tools can now take one photo of a child's face and animate it, create a deepfake video that looks and sounds exactly like them.
And what do they do with that?
A few things. Scams, for one. Imagine a video call to the grandparents with the child's real face and voice saying, "Grandma, I'm in trouble. I need you to send money." It's incredibly convincing.
Wow.
But it gets darker. They can create non-consensual explicit material. It is horrific, but the technology is there, and parents are providing the raw material in public feeds.
That just creates a knot in my stomach. And the source also mentioned grooming.
Yes. If you post a photo of your child in their soccer uniform, in front of their school, maybe you tag the location, you've just given a predator a complete dossier.
They know the name, the school, the hobby, the schedule.
They don't have to lure the child. They can walk right up and say, "Hey, great game against the Tigers yesterday. Your mom posted about it. She asked me to pick you up." The child trusts them because they have inside information.
The parent's data is used to bypass the child's stranger danger instincts.
Exactly. And then there's the long-term issue, the digital tattoo.
We touched on this with the VIP's Thales Protects. These children are having a digital footprint built for them before they can even speak.
And by the time they're 18, there's a massive archive of their life available to facial recognition, identity thieves, you name it.
So what's the advice?
The advice from Panda Security is strict, and it might sound extreme, but it's necessary. Avoid showing faces. Avoid biometric traits. If you have to share, use private groups, not public feeds. You are the guardian of your child's data.
It's a hard shift. We're wired to share to get the likes, but the cost is getting too high.
The internet does not forget. That's the golden rule.
So if we zoom out, I mean, we have crime that operates like a subscription service, Geopolitical wars spilling into local town halls, attacks that happen faster than we can order a pizza,
Yeah.
and our own habits are feeding an AI beast.
It's a lot. But the goal of this isn't to create paralysis. It's awareness. You can't defend against a threat you don't understand.
And the sources did mention that the good guys are fighting back. Operation Kronos against the Lockbit ransomware group was a huge win.
It was a significant victory. But it's an arms race. One group goes down, two more pop up. The only thing you can really control is your own defense.
Pablo Santimaterio left us with this fantastic analogy to wrap this all up. The 30-year-old car.
I love this analogy. Think about a car from the early 90s. It runs, it has wheels.
Gets you from A to B.
Sure. But it has no airbags, no ABS brakes, no crumple zones. If you drive that on a quiet country lane at 20 miles per hour, you're probably fine.
But the internet today is not a quiet country lane.
No.
Yeah.
The modern internet is the German Autobahn. It is high speed, and there are massive armored trucks, the state-sponsored hackers, the RAS groups, barreling down at 150 miles per hour. If you take your 30-year-old security habits, password 123, no 2FA, public photos of your kids onto that highway,
You're going to crash.
and you won't walk away from it. The environment has changed, so your safety measures have to change with it.
So the takeaway is clear. It's time to upgrade the car. Check your passwords. Turn on that 2FA. Do it today, seriously. And just take a second look at what you're posting about your family.
Security isn't a product you buy. It's a process you live.
That is a perfect place to leave it. Thank you for diving deep with us into the cyber battlefield. Hopefully you feel a little more prepared for the highway.
Stay safe out there.
We'll see you next time.